the traditional carnivore diet is typically thought of as a very fat heavy diet, a high fat diet. Upwards of 80% of your so-called calories per day often come from fat on the kind of mainstream carnivore diet. This is the sort of cult of the ribeye, as I call it, the eat nothing but ribeyes all day, or eggs with butter and ribeyes and bacon. I'm sure it's a delicious way to go, but when I do it, I don't lose the weight that I need to lose. I stall out. I've tried for months to do the, ribeyes and steaks similar to ribeyes and eggs and butter and all that stuff every day, and it just didn't work for me. So there's growing awareness that a lot of us, that doesn't work for, that some of us need a more moderated amount of fat. Instead of 80% of our fat per day or calories per day from fat, we need maybe 60%, 55% even. I'm somewhere in the typically 55 to 60% range, and I tend to lean more on protein, partially because when I'm not recovering from an injury at the gym like I am at the moment, I'm typically at the gym for a couple hours at a time, 4 to 5 days a week, and have worked out that way for like 15 years. I need protein to maintain the muscle mass I have and to build more. And protein is very satiating. Plenty of us are in that space too. I'm seeing many more people in the carnivore space talking about more moderate approaches in terms of fat. So what do you do when you need to add protein? What do you do when you say you want to have that higher protein, moderate fat approach, but you still like your ribeye, or you still like your picanha, or your New York strip, or any of these other classically very fatty cuts of beef? How do you do it? Well, I am an advocate, for one, of paying a little extra for some of the nicer variations of chicken or pork as needed. These are going to be your pasture-raised chickens, typically from a local producer, someone that's some non-industrial farm-raised stuff, but actual raised by somebody local, where the chickens are outside in a pasture eating what chickens are supposed to eat. And when they eat predominantly what they're supposed to eat, most of our concerns with the quality of the fatty acid profile of chicken goes away. I'm also an advocate personally for eating heritage breed pigs. And there are a few of them. There's the American Guinea heritage breed pig, not to be confused with a guinea pig. They're called a guinea or pygmy pig because they're small. I have a freezer that's got about half of one left. I bought a full one back around Thanksgiving. I don't eat a lot of pork, but when I do, I try to get it as a heritage breed, but I don't also always do that. Sometimes the store has a great deal on pork loin, which is a lean cut anyway. And so when there's not much fat there, I don't worry too much about the fatty acid profile. I also like Berkshire pork. I can get that from Wild Fork Foods. But how do you add protein? You add some very lean chicken or some very lean pork. Those are the easiest ways to do it. So first option here. If you are okay with eating chicken, it doesn't make you sick. That's always the rule here. Know your own self, what your body can handle. And just, if you have a history of chicken making you ill or pork making you ill, then obviously these rules don't apply to you. But some people live just fine with it. In fact, I have encountered carnivores who eat mostly pork or mostly chicken, and they do just fine. So some food for thought there. But the cut of choice you're looking for, if you want to have chicken and you don't want a lot of that nasty fatty stuff in it, is going to be the chicken breast tenderloin. This takes the chicken breast and then cuts the tenderloin out of the chicken breast. It has, for 4 ounces, half a gram of fat. Okay, there's virtually no fat in this. And it's like 22 to 25 grams of protein. So if you're like me and you sometimes have 20 or 30 grams of protein a day to hit your target number, with whatever your last meal of the day is, add half an ounce or an ounce and a half, whatever you need to get to that protein goal. You'll get almost no chicken fat in the process. So you don't need to worry too much about the nasty consequences of the questionable fatty acid profile of chicken, even if you're just buying the grocery store stuff, if you're eating the chicken breast tenderloin. Now, this part of the chicken breast is much more expensive than the typical chicken breast, which is some of the cheapest chicken you can buy. So bear that in mind. Another good option is the pork tenderloin. Okay, this is cut from the loin, and it has almost no fat also, very little fat. You can cut them into medallions. You can fry them up. An ounce or two will get you to your protein. Easy to do. Easy peasy, okay? This is low stress stuff. You season either of the cuts that I've just told you with some salt, a little pepper if you can handle pepper, and you're going to get your protein just fine. Have it with your ruminant meat. Your ruminant meat should be 95% or better of your meat consumption on a carnivore diet. It should be, beef or lamb or elk or whatever you can get, the red meat from a multi-chambered stomached animal. Pork and chicken don't fit that bill, but in small amounts, it's fine. But is there other options? Let's say you only want to eat ruminant animals. The other option I like is to use carnivore crisps. And the one I have here, again, is the leg of lamb. It's very lean. A whole bag has 6 grams of fat and 22 grams of protein. One serving has 11 grams of protein and 3 grams of fat. This is very thin cut. They actually have leaner ones too, like the top round steak. They have a pork loin one. They've got several really lean ones. The bison one's pretty lean too. But this is it looks like jerky. It's more like a chip. I mean, listen, a very satisfying crunch. It also is a nice side dish. Let's say you miss a crunch. You're a few months into your carnivore diet. You have a craving for a crunchy item, and chips, like old potato chips or whatever, are tempting you to stray. These, I guarantee you, will satisfy that crisp. And some people don't like them. I like them, and my child likes them. My 1-year-old daughter, I would show you footage here, but YouTube doesn't like putting children in videos. It will make it so no one sees your video if you do that. But in the pinned comment is a link to an Instagram post I made showing my 1-year-old daughter. I handed her it was a beef brisket one. And she sat there eating the beef brisket one like it was candy. Go check that out. She loved it. I love these things. They make me get into my protein goals easy. For those times where I need something crunchy, it solves the problem easy for me. If you are interested in getting some, there's a link in the description box where you can order some. Use the code PRACTICAL at checkout, save yourself 10% on that first order. It's worth it. I love these. I love their brisket one, their ribeye one. Their chicken skin one is so good. If you want a fatty snack, the chicken skin carnivore crisps, 10 out of 10. Can't help but recommend them. I've even got beef heart and beef liver ones too. Adding protein is not hard. Adding animal fat is not hard. You just got to fine tune your carnivore diet to fit your needs. There is no one size fits all approach really when it comes to this, except basically keep it as clean as you can. Eat whole foods, eat mostly ruminants, overwhelmingly eat ruminants. Make sure to get your eggs when you can, if you can eat them. But otherwise, fine tune your carnivore diet. You will need a different amount of fat based on your goals and your lifestyle compared to how other people in the carnivore world eat and what their body needs are. So other people's advice may not necessarily work. You got to fine tune it for yourself. And if you discover that you need a little extra protein, carnivore crisps or chicken breast tenderloins or pork tenderloins is the easiest and super cheap way to go. They're not expensive. Yes, you can go buy some beef tenderloin if you want to pay $25 a pound in America for it, which probably means in Australia, probably $70 a pound for that same cut. Or you can get some carnivore crisps. Link in the description box. Let me know what other ways you have of adding protein to your carnivore diet in the comments below. And remember, I think these things are delicious, actually. They really scratch a good crunch itch for me. Anyway, like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. Sharing this on social media helps a lot too. I'm Anthony Stine, the Practical Carnivore. Thanks for tuning in today.